Hi, welcome. This is Dr. Traci K. Thanks for coming to this episode of our spiritual vibration challenge, spiritual vibe challenge message. And today I want to talk about how to basically clean the clutter. And what I mean by that is I want us to remember that it is very, very important to invest in our future. And what I mean is you need to spend time investing in your future. We don't need to spend time investing in the past. And what I mean by that is when we live in the past about our pain and our disappointments, who hurt you, you know, who did you wrong? It's really a big waste of energy. And you know me as energy medicine doctor, that is something that I try to teach on energy. I myself have been through it. I myself sometimes find that I do that. And I'm not saying don't talk about the past, but because talking is important and investing in that is something that is needed. Because when you're ready, when you're ready, then I want you to invest in your future. And we weren't really designed. We weren't designed to carry around all this clutter and all this baggage. And I how I hear you get a lot of messages maybe that, quit talking about the past, quit repeating the past. It's the quit repeating same old stuff because and thinking it's different because that's what they call insanity. And I honestly don't like that message, but it is something that is kind of about our mental health, meaning that if we constantly talk about the past, live in the past, dwell on the past. It is not a good, healthy way. I'm not saying don't talk about the past because you need to learn to deal with it. Sometimes that area in your life that is important to talk about in order to understand where some of the things that are happening now in your present or it's causing you to be stuck that you can't move into that future. And so I'm not saying don't not talk about the past. Maybe it's what I'm saying is don't live in the past. You know, we're just not designed to carry. And a lot of people kind of think, well, you know, maybe they don't understand why. For example, dealing with weight gain or menopause. And, you find yourself looking in the mirror and you think, what the heck is that? That's not me. That is not who I was a year ago. Why do I look like that? Why have I gained 20, 30 pounds? Why is, my skin is this way? Why do I ache in my joints? And, you know, if we really think and clearly, and a lot of times we need outside help. We need a coach or we need a therapist, um, someone that is designed and expert of self growth to help you look at that. Someone that is experienced to understand that, okay, well, yes, I understand that I've gained this weight and it's because, oh, well, I don't know. Maybe it's because I have disabilities and I'm not able to do what I used to do. And but I also am very happier with more of the curves, but not so much. And it's not your fault. It isn't your fault. Don't blame yourself. because there's always something underlining from that. And doesn't mean that you can't fix it, because this is where I need to help you understand that you can clean this clutter or shed this so-called uh, excess baggage that you have. And, because that's what it is. And say, for example, it's an unnecessary negative, stuck bitterness, resentment, heartache, disability, injury, something that is stuff that we have accumulated into our physical or our mental energetic systems that is causing us to weigh down and with all this junk that we don't want. We feel heavier, we feel achy, it's just something that is not necessarily your fault. Because when it comes to life, there are transitions and we can't help it. It's just part of the way the human body is. And whether we transition into a time in our life where we are not understanding who we are as a teenager and understanding how to be loved or what we need to do or who am I, and or understanding that okay, I'm here as this person and I'm being pressured into so many different things as an adult now. What area of my life am I going to be good at? What's my niche? I mean, it doesn't mean that you're not good at something. It means that a lot of times you're good at a lot of different things. A lot of people say, why don't you just get a job, right? Why don't you just figure out what you want, that you what need to do? That's not always the case, because you understand yourself that in order for you to have a future, you need to be able to invest in that future. And some of the times where it has this baggage or excess weight that's weighing you down, or an imbalance in your energetic system where it's cluttering and it's causing to where it's getting trapped. And a lot of times this is because, and I'll give you an example where it's people have set you up, things have set you up to where you are in a situation where you are trapped or stuck, and you're stuck with this weight, excess weight, or you're stuck with this injury, or you're stuck with this divorce, and you're constantly looking back at the past, living that past, thinking that's going to correct what is happening now and moving you forward to the future, right? And so think about this for a second. Let's just keep it simple. How about let's take, our suitcases. We're going to use this suitcase. Or as I show a picture that you probably see over here is, a clutter. You see the clutter? Look at that. Look at all that. Just take a look at that image and see what you see, and pinpoint what is attracting you. What's pinpointing and coming up. And, when you look at that picture, when you look at this picture I have that I put up on this presentation, what do you see? What stands out? Like, is it the resistance ball, or is it the jacket over the chair, or is it the food, or is it the drink, or is it what is drawing that attention to you? This is something maybe that you see in your own life that is causing this clutter, or maybe it's all of them, or together, just take a time and just focus on that image and what is drawing to you, or what do you see that you see? Oh my gosh, that's my life. That's my closet. No, that's my room. That's my bedroom. Right? Oh my goodness, that's my office. Oh, wow. Okay. Well, this is what we're going to talk about. It's time to clean that clutter. It's to organize. And how you do that is you have to invest. Whether it's, okay, let's get that workout ball. Let's start working out again. Let's start grabbing those clothes that are hanging off a chair, or and it's hiding that exercise equipment, or maybe it's that food or that bread or that junk and that you need to put away, or you're not cleaning your dishes. What about the leftover, the dishes are piling up, things are piling up, and it's constantly being referred back to the past, right? So have you ever, I mean, I know, like, when I was with the military, whatever, we had always a PCS move, they call it. So you're going to be, that time you don't know, they might say, hey, it's time for you to get up and go. You're moving, you're being transferred to something else. So we always had to make sure in some way or another that we have an extra baggage, or that we're able to pack up and make it simple. So we kept everything very simple. We didn't try to spend a lot of money on future, because a lot of times they would, when they would pick up and travel and pack, they would damage stuff. So it's like, well, or things would get lost, right? So, but then you would think, okay, well, when it's time to pack, you would see that if you come across, when you're unpacking and whatever, and you're packing up, you notice things that are coming out of the closet or underneath all the pile that you have not seen or checked in a long, long, long time. Have you ever thought about that? What about even just like family photos? Have you ever just gone back to old family photos and looked at yourself where we were? Do that, and do a timeline. I would highly suggest this if you're doing something to whatever. Like, I understand my time with dealing with injuries, disabilities, and then dealing with menopause. That is something that's it's causing me traps. And with the disability, it's piling up, and the weight gains, and things are getting bigger in areas that are complementary and other areas that maybe aren't complementary. You're aching, um, you're just not very happy, and you feel way down. You do. You feel way down, right? Right? Yeah. And uh, you feel like, and then you get these anger sparks, and you're like, oh, and you're like, where is this? Who is this? This is not me. This is not who I am. This is something that has accumulated and piled on and caused a clutter in my energetic system and in my body and in mentally and physically, right? So here's this deal. You got the suitcase. We're going back to the suitcase, and you look. It's just sitting there and sitting there and sitting there, like accumulating dust. And there's stuff in there, right? And you're thinking, oh my goodness. Or what about, let's go to your hamper or your laundry, and there's all these dirty clothes. And you just know it's there, piling up and piling up and piling up. And it's just in your mind, it's there. It's like the pile of dishes, or the trash is overflowing, and you can't put more trash in there because it keeps falling off out of the side of the trash can, you know? All right. All right. So good. But it's like, okay, time to take out the trash, time to wash those dishes, time to clean those clothes and replace them with fresh, new, open air space. And it even smells better, right? Feels better. It just feels lighter, you're fresh, and you just feel so good. It's like a lift off your shoulders. Just like, say, for instance, when you move or you transition in life, the same thing. I I highly suggest going through stuff from your past that's weighing down, that's bringing those patterns up, pictures even, clothes even. Well, I'm going to keep these clothes. They'll come back in season. They'll come back around. Well, yes, I'm going to, yes, but I'm going to be that way again. Definitely do that. Keep certain types of items that have good memories. Remember when you felt so good wearing those pair of jeans, or wearing that beautiful top, or that blouse that no longer can fit across the chest, right? Or button the jeans bottom, but you felt so good when you wore them. And you say, that is a goal I'm going to do, because I'm going to use that to know that I'm going to feel good again. Because when I put them on from the past, they don't make me feel good now, right? They don't make you feel good because it's constricted. It's very tight and you can't zip it up. And if you do get them zipped tight, you're just stuck in there like trapped, right? Exactly. This is just upsetting. It's so upsetting to you. So, what I suggest you do is you need to start refreshing and bringing a new. You reflected. It's one of my reflect and renew. So it's like, let's clean the clutter. Let's clean this clutter. And that way it'll give you an idea. Okay, well, I've got to set some goals here. I'm going to lose this 50 pounds. I'm going to um, have a better career. I am no longer going to do this anymore. I'm not going to fall back into that rut, in that stuck. Yeah, well, why don't you just go, back to this? Why don't you go back to that? Because that's not me anymore. How come you've changed? Or you're not the same person, or what's wrong with you? I don't want to do that because that's not me anymore. I'm not going to live in the past because that is never was good for me. I'm going to live in for and invest, and I'm investing in my future. I'm cleaning out the clutter, and this is everything when it comes to your family, because or your relationships, or your fashion, or your health and fitness goals, or your living space, right? For example, let's talk about relationships. When you go through, say, for example, let's use a divorce. A lady goes through divorce. She's been divorced a few years, maybe 3 or 4 years, and she meets a guy through a friend of hers, and they go out, hang out, and they're hanging out, and they go to dinner and stuff. They go to a concert, and he's just this nice fella. He's a nice guy, and he genuinely adores her and likes her. But every so often, when they're hanging out together, she's always bringing up about the past, comparing things to the past, or little things he does, and maybe is just not in a sense of, you know, she keeps comparing him to everything and everything they do to the past, and it's just something that is not waving a good vibe in this so-called beginning of this relationship that genuinely this guy was hoping to have with her, right? So good. And he goes back to the friend who introduced them, and he mentions after she said, "Well, how's it going? How's it been going, you guys? What have you been up to? Is everything working out? Isn't she great?" And he's like, "Well, I hate to say this. She seems like a genuinely wonderful person. I adore her, but I don't think she's ready, and I honestly um don't think I'm gonna keep dating her because she has a lot of baggage, and I just don't want to deal with baggage, women with baggage right now. You see what I'm saying? There you go. You've heard that before, right? Exactly. And so this is something that is important to understand when it comes to dealing with the clutter in our lives. And, when you go deal with these clutter and baggages and things that are just sitting around in your life and weighing down, and, we just don't want to allow this to take and trap us in this situation, whether it's your weight, whether it's your hormones, whether it's a relationship, whether it's a divorce, whether it's family, you know, um, you just can't move forward. Yeah, maybe you think, well, I want to, I gotta please them, I gotta make them happy, I gotta deal with certain situations. Okay, I understand that there are things you have to deal with because of the situation you're in, and That's fine, but that doesn't mean you have to allow it to trap you or allow them to trap you. And so, because it's a fail, it's going to cause you to fail, and those opportunities that are waiting there to be present in your life. We've got to decide that it is time to just let go, and those type of things are really hard to do. And again, I'm not saying don't talk about the past, but talk about it in essential ways with somebody like me, a coach, or in our group, because it's a healing process. It is a healing process, but replace it, with a refreshness where, okay, throw this out, let it go. Yes, I see it now. I see why that's causing me this, why this is causing me the weight gain, why this is causing me anxiety, why this is causing me pain, why I'm dealing with narcissistic people, why they're so mean. It's not, now I'm going to let it go. It's like, okay, here's the rock, here's the balloon, it's tied. You're going to cut that cord and that rock, and you're going to let it go. Right? Exactly. And so when you time to let it go, okay, there might be times, depending on, how deep the issue is, that you have to go back, but you're using it as a tool to understand so you can replace and refresh it with something new and exciting, light and airy. And then you start, you know, how do I put this? Okay, let's talk like a snake. A snake there are going to be seasons. There are going to be seasons where we deal with some baggages, you know. But like anything, like a snake would do, it sheds its skin and replenishes, sheds it and lets it go. You're going to do the same thing. You're going to shed it and let it go, and it might come back. You might have some things, but you're going to deal with that, and then you're going to be let it go. You're going to know how to do these things. You're going to work on these areas so that you can, and it'll become easier. It'll become better. It'll become faster. Maybe, but there are going to be times, yes, that you need to stand clear in your presence in case you have to deal with a past situation where it's coming up. And if you, until you understand how your area works, you can be within your divine power, because it's going, that enemy, that fear that we talked about in the past there and other messages, it's going to happen, and you're going to say, well, this is bad. This is why. This is this. But this is this. Because they're going to say it's going to have the little enemy, and it's going to be, the truth to the lie. And you need to make sure you stay in that truth and keep that truth. So whenever those lies, those people, the deception, that baggage that was there, that did these things to you in your life that were very not good for you, you can stand in that truth and that present that you've invested in and that you are now, because they can no longer take that. It's not a baggage. It's somebody else's baggage now. It's somebody else's baggage. I've given that away. I've donated that, right? And in return, I've tithed it. I've donated to something that is helping me invest in my future. I'm investing and tithing, donating to a coach, to this program, to the programs that are offered to help me to listen to help heal within my physical and my mental and my energetic systems. And I'm investing that because I no longer want that baggage. Yes, I might keep something here, but that may so when I do and that, I can go back to that and say, oh, I remember this good times. Ooh, when I wore my stonewashed jeans, and now I can be like, ooh, I feel good in it again, and I can remember the good memories. Right? Exactly. Ooh, when I lost that weight and I can fit in those awesome jeans I used to wear. Same thing. So when it comes to example of where, areas of your life that you need to step into the future when it comes to your lifestyle. For example, I remember when I was stationed in, I think it was Fort Bragg, and before then When we would go, when we go on base because their military has their own little city, and then there's the outside civilian areas. And if you live out the base, you know, in order to get on base, you have to have security clearance. You have to have be checked. But then during that time, it was just so fresh and easy and light. We or it was so easy. We just go drive through. They would check your ID and they just drive on through. And there was no other gates, no other checkpoints, nothing like that. It was so easy and so easy, no baggage, nothing, whatever. And when the 9/11 came with the towers, you know, everything changed. And it put a very heavy, heavy, heavy baggage upon all of us. And, some of us were left, most of our were gone. And, I was still training at the time. So it's like, it was a shock. But in my mind at the time, I was still, I didn't feel like, okay, I can't believe this. Now everything's going to be different. And I feel trapped because that night, I mean, just like the towers, those people that were trapped. It wasn't just them that was affected. It was all of us that end up being trapped and stuck with piles and piles and piles of stones on us from a tower that we had built, and it crumbled all on us. And so the next time we would go on base, it was so different. It wasn't just one little, hi, how you doing? Here's my card. Okay, cool. See you. Have a great day. Everything became different. Now it was, instead of one gate, there were four gates you had to go through. And then each one of them, there was more than one soldier looking at you. It wasn't just looking at your ID. They made you get out of the car. They made you open up your trunk. They would look at your passport. They would get in your glove compartment. They would open your hood. They would look underneath your car. Even though you had to clear, even though you had a little car, whatever, it didn't matter. And then you had to go through the next one, same thing. And then the next one. And then if you finally did that, you were finally able to go on base. And that's what I'm talking about here. That baggage. And then all that coming from it to say, okay, I've time to release it. It's time to let go. Time to let it go. Right. And when you get through that, finally, all those gates are behind you. All those doors are behind you. Because that's what I'm trying to explain to you. Because sometimes when the past has these gates and you're stuck and you've got to be, you notice the second and the third and whatever. But look at this. Once you're finally, in life that you have walked through you've gone through those gates and they are all behind you, right? And you're no longer holding on to that bitterness. Don't hold on to the mistakes or that you've made or got you stuck. It's like the trap can't get out of years ago. That's the way you know, it is. I mean, it's just, and the whole thing is, it's up to you because you don't have to stay trapped. You don't have to hold on to that bitter divorce. You don't have to hold on to that anymore. All you got to do is just let go, let your hand go. Quit letting it go. Quit being a, a rat in a race, right? Rat spinning and spinning your wheels. And you're going to have times. Yes, we all do. Because it's a process. It is a process that you take, and we get sideways or we can get setbacks, and there's going to be seasons of times. I mean, just like with COVID, it's going to be times. There's just like with the situation like I just talked about. So we need to see these, and there are negative reasons, but the higher power talks about, it talks about that. It talks about, there will be seasons, there will be disappointments. We don't always care that we have to go through them. We don't like it. It doesn't define who we are. It does not define. We can stand true in our foot because there are some people that, believe it or not, okay, well, how come it doesn't affect these people, but it still affects me? And think about that, because I myself go through it. I understand that. There are always going to be things that you deal with that other people seem to just fly by through. And that's where you need to look to find the beauty, because we're not meant to be trapped under those piles of rocks. We're meant to see beauty. We're meant to find things that we can trust and again. Find things that are supposed to get our mind set on good things and allow us to begin to know that what the higher power is that we can see and take a hold. Like I always say, you need to name it, claim it, then find a way to you can take it. So one more time, we need to let it go. Just let it go. Let it go. And again, we're all human. We're not perfect. But this is where we can use this practice at. And these programs that I offer to you that you can invest in for you and your future can help with that reprogramming, because it's hard, just like going to the gym and working out, getting there, getting those clothes on, looking decent. No, I don't feel good. I don't want to be around those people. I don't feel good working out. These programs are on the go for yourself in the privacy of your home. You can listen to anywhere you go, and it can help you. It can help guide you and reprogram that baggage and that you need to release or stuck in and trapped in, right? Here we go. So good, right? So good. Can I get claim it? Claim it. Yes, claim it. So we've experienced this phenomenal type of message here that I've given you. And we don't want that anymore. Say, I don't want that anymore, Dr. Traci K. I don't want that anymore, Dr. Traci K. Raise it up and be fresh. Feel that new opportunity. Feel that freshness and that lift of weight off of you, right? That unloading of emotional or physical baggage that didn't work out. We want to be refreshed mentally, physically. And so that, you know, we declare it. You need to declare it. Like I said, you need to name it, and then you need to claim it. Claim it, and then you need to start taking that action to have that wonderful relationship, to have that prosperity in my life, to have that healthy mind and healthy body, to have the happiness that I need, that family, the good, loving, supportive family in my life. You know, how can I get it? Can I get it? Claim it. Yes, I get it. Yes, you are. Wonderful. So good. So good. Great message, I think, today, right? So now let's put our hands together in our heart chakra. All right. Deep breath. Inhale this beautiful message so that it may be transpiring and moving and circulating in your energetic system. Thank you so much for coming today with me and sharing your practice. I ask you in light and love, and now bow and claim it. Thank you, guys.